So it's kind of a quick recap before we go into doing some stuff with the unit circle. These are our unit triangles. We've got the 45, 45, 90, and the 30, 60, 90. Now, I already have the values there, but in case you forgot how to find those values, because that is possible, let me go through how to find those. Okay, so let's ignore the red values for right now. Okay, let's say on the 45, 45 triangle, those red values didn't exist. The green ones did though. It's called a unit triangle for a reason. Unit triangles always have a hypotenuse length of 1. So let's take a look at our hypotenuse here. I've got square root of 2. How do I make square root of 2 become 1? Well, I end up dividing by the square root of 2. When I do that, those values will cancel out, but this is also equivalent to the value of 1, which is what we were looking for in the first place. Now, because the hypotenuse length was the square root of 2, the side lengths, the other legs of the triangle, are going to be 1 each. So for each of the legs, so that they match that hypotenuse length, we end up dividing those by the square root of 2. Now, I'm perfectly fine if you leave it as 1 over the square root of 2. Or, if you learned it a different way, you'll know that that can become square root of 2 over 2. Okay? I'm cool with whichever way you so desire to write that out. It's a similar idea on our 30, 60, 90 triangle. But let me not use green, let me use a different color so that we can see the similarities here. So let's say instead of the red values, hypotenuse length was 2, the side opposite 30 was 1, and the side opposite 60 is the square root of 3. So it's the same idea. I want to turn this into a unit triangle, so my hypotenuse length needs to be 1. Well, how do I do that when it's currently 2? Well, 2 divided by 2 is the same thing as 1. Which is what we were looking for. Now, because I did that for the hypotenuse, I must do that with each of the other legs. So let's take a look at those. So for our first leg, it was already the value of 1, but I have to divide it by 2 in order for it to fully match what I did on my hypotenuse. So the first leg is going to be 1/2. Okay, the other leg was square root of 3. Now, that's not 1, but I have to make it similar to what I just did to the hypotenuse. So I must divide it by 2. So now we see where those red values came from. And hopefully that explanation was very helpful. What I'm going to show you is once we know these triangle values and we've put them on our unit circle, then how do we find the trig functions when we're using radians? These are currently in degrees, but the idea is very similar when we start using radians.